Welcome, students, staff, and Carlton community. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 6 territory, home of the numerous First Nations. This acknowledgement reaffirms that all people here are beneficiaries of this peace and friendship treaty.
Who are Canada's veterans and Canadian Armed Forces members? There are approximately 32,100 surviving Canadian veterans of the Second World War and the Korean War. Their average age is 94 years old. There are some 630,000 surviving Canadian veterans who served in the military in the years after the Korean War. Their average age is 59 years old.
There are some 95,000 serving Canadian Armed Forces personnel in the regular force and the reserve. Please rise for the singing of the national anthem and honor song.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. Carlton s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Every year on November 11th, Canadians pause in a moment of silence to honor and remember the men and women who have served and continue to serve during times of war, conflict, and peace. We remember the more than 2,300,000 Canadians who have served throughout our nation's history and the more than 118,000 who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Across Canada and in many other countries, people gather on November 11th to honor the courage and devotion of brave men and women who made the supreme sacrifice of dying for their countries. The hostilities of the First World War ceased on November 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m., the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The following year marked the first observance of the day to remember and honor those who died, as well as to give thanks for the sacrifices of those who came back from serving their country. Since then, Canadians have fought in other conflicts and many have given their lives so that we might enjoy freedom today. They too should be remembered.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row.
Auprès des croix et dans l'espace, les alouettes devenues lasses.
Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow.
À nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui reposons ici, au champ d'honneur.
Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die.
Acceptez le défi, sinon les coquelicots se faneront au champ d'honneur.
In Flanders fields.
I'm Chief Warrant Officer Ramsey Bilal. I'm the Regimental Sergeant Major for the North Saskatchewan Regiment in Prince Albert and Saskatoon. I've been an Army Reservist for 27 years. I joined the military in 1993, a grade 12 student at Carlton High School. Back then, Remembrance Day was remembering your grandparents, remembering pictures of old people or Normandy invasions, that kind of thing on the TV, not really understanding or knowing anybody that had been in the military. Throughout my time in the military, serving in Bosnia and then later on in Afghanistan, that slowly began to change. In 2006, everything changed for myself. It was September 18th. A good friend of mine who I had gone to Bosnia with was killed in Afghanistan, Shane Keating. And then when Remembrance Day, November 2006 came around, during the 2 minutes of silence, we had somebody to think about. There was faces. You think about the guys your friends that did not come home, your friends that came home changed, and then also the friends that were casualties. The November before, November 2005, I met Captain Trevor Green at the Prince Albert Armory, and a year later, he was almost mortally wounded in Afghanistan. So then you started remembering people. So Remembrance Day for the 2 weeks that I wear my poppy, that's the 2 weeks of the year I allow myself to remember the guys, or remember what it was like or what I was feeling like at the time when we were overseas. Or when I had to leave my family and when I left them at the airport or at the bus station when we were deploying overseas. Thank you.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Ils étaient jeunes, jeunes comme nous.
They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the woods of time,
de porter leur flambeau et de jamais oublier.
we will remember them.
Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
This year marks the 76th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. During the first half of the 20th century, some 1.7 million Canadians were called upon to defend peace and freedom around the world during the First World War, the Second World War, and the Korean War.
Canadian Armed Forces veterans have made many personal and global achievements and have made personal sacrifices to defend Canada's interests and its values, while contributing to international peace and security. These men and women take their honored place in our country's military history beside their fellow veterans and fallen comrades of Canada's earlier war efforts. Their commitment has earned Canada a worldwide reputation as a country that supports and protects peace. Thank you for honoring veterans and Canadian Armed Forces members today.